Hey everyone, it's Dr. Baird at Performance Healthcare Online, and today we're going over the best exercise to include into your routine to overcome low back pain. So I guess the first thing to keep in mind is that no one exercise is going to be the answer to all your problems regarding low back pain. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's involved, especially if it's back pain that has kind of come and gone for a while, or it's that, again, you're just starting to get older, more nagging aches and pains. There's going to be a little bit more to it. But the one thing that all people with low back pain need to do, again, every patient that I've ever seen, anyone that I've helped with low back pain, the number one thing that they need to do is build stronger glutes and stronger hamstrings. And so to do that, one of my favorite exercises is the glute bridge exercise. So again, it's a very basic, simple exercise, but why it's such a great one to put in is one, it really targets the glutes and hamstrings. Two, it's safe, so it's a good way to do it without kind of over stressing those joints in our back and actually kind of contributing more to back pain. And three, you can do it anywhere. So it's not something you need a lot of equipment to do. You can do it sitting at home. And the fourth is, again, there's a lot of progressions that can build off of the glute bridge. So there's a lot of glute bridge variations that I'll probably cover in another post, but it can make it very easy to very, very challenging. So there's always things you can do to make it harder so that you can continue to build strength in your glutes and hamstrings. So what I'll do today is, again, kind of demonstrate the exercises and just talk about a few of the issues or questions that come up when people are learning to do it. It is a pretty simple exercise, but if you do have low back pain, a couple things can come up and we'll try to address those today. So first thing, just demonstrating the exercise. So again, it really is simple as laying on your back, bending your feet so your feet are flat on the floor, pressing through those feet to lift those hips up into the air. So that's the glute bridge. And again, normally it's slow and controlled, up and down just like that. Now, the few things that you pay attention to, or the questions that come up when people doing it, are where should your feet be? So how far in or out should they be? So the best answer is when you come up, you want your shins to be vertical. So it's hard to see when yourself, but one way to tell if you're doing it right is if your feet are too far out, or you walk your feet too far out and you do a glute bridge, you're really gonna feel a lot more of that burn or that pull in the hamstring muscle and not as much in the glutes. If you get too close, which is the other thing that people do, and do a bridge, again, you start to feel a lot more of a stretch or a burn on the front side of the quads here. So what you wanna do, again, is find that middle ground where you still get the glute activation, but you're not stretching or straining the quads. So the best way, usually you can start to feel it as you get more comfortable with the movement. Good, so that's the first thing to watch out for, is where the feet go. Second, what do you do with the low back? There's a couple different kind of, I guess, variations or things that people ask. Is my back supposed to be flat on the ground? So again, when we lay on our back, you have that kind of natural arch in your low back. So what people want to know is, well, am I supposed to flatten that? Again, by kind of rocking your pelvis back and pinning that low back on the ground. What I normally say is start with a neutral spine. So don't flatten the back. Just start with that natural arch in the low back and press up. Now, one of the things that can happen is when you're in this position, if you kind of go too far or you are having some back pain, especially in the joints in the low back, any sort of extension of those joints is going to cause a little bit of back pain. So if you're finding that when you're doing this glute bridge exercise, you are having a little bit of back pain, that's when I would suggest trying that little bit of, again, it's a pelvic tuck that flattens that arch on the ground, and then do the same kind of glute bridge and see if that helps kind of ease a little bit of back pain. Good. And then the last thing to pay attention to at the top is it's really important to get a squeeze of those glutes at the top. That's going to make sure that you get the full range of motion. So again, you press up, and again, make sure that you squeeze at the top. So your glutes should be rock hard at the top of this movement. It's going to make sure, one, that you get into the full amount of extension in your hips, but two, the whole purpose of this exercise is to build tension and strength in those glute muscles themselves. So if we have, the more tension we have, the more strength we have in our glutes, the less force goes through those joints. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is limit the impact that goes through our low back. So we really want to make sure that we pay attention to the amount of tension that we're developing in those glutes when we do the glute bridge exercise. So that's all I got in terms of the glute bridge today. So again, pay attention to your feet positioning, your low back positioning. Make sure you get a good squeeze at the top. But if you are having low back pain, it's a great exercise to add into your routine because it is safe and effective. If you're going through it and you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below. And don't forget to subscribe or join our email list. I'll send this directly to your inbox. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you soon.